came up in Charles Xavier's School for Gifted Mutants, and we were learning how to harness our superpowers and get along with regular humans. And that was an amazing journey and way for me to start my life. What I took away from being at Professor X's school for so long was that in order for me to maximize my powers, I had to have crazy commitment, discipline, and trust my dopeness. And over the course of my life, I have battle scars, bruises, and all of the above, but it always came back to me living to see another day because of my crazy commitment, discipline, and trusting my dopeness. And so two of my most amazing battles are one that started in 2008 after I had my second and final daughter. J-Lo and I decided to do a triathlon to get the baby weight off. And so I trained. I swam every day, I ran, I brick trained, and I conditioned like no other. I was ready, I was prepared, I had the best road bike. I did all the things to be prepared for that day. And then, the night before, in Lake Ontario, the water turned over. I'd only prepared with a wetsuit. I didn't, a single tri-suit. I didn't go in with a wetsuit, which would have made me more buoyant. It would have protected me against the inclement weather. And that water turned over. They were 1 degree away from canceling the race because it was so cold. Now, how this works is you bring all of your equipment, you do all the things, but more importantly, I have brought with me my husband and my 2 kids. Bashari was 3 at the time, my son was 7, and they were standing on the observation deck. And I'm in the water, the waves are rough. I'm a runner, really, truly at heart, but I stretched myself for this particular day. And I got halfway out, and I got overwhelmed. I began to cry. I began to throw up in the water. And there was this red boat that kept coming around. People were getting on that boat. And I was like, the boat is distracting. Seeing these people leave the water on this boat is distracting. And I started to cry. Crying in the water while you're throwing up is an easy way to drown. I became scared. And I saw my family on that observation deck. And I said to somebody, what is this red boat? They said that red boat is for non-completers. I said, quitters? That's the quitter boat? And all I thought was, I trained for a year. I'm not getting on that quitter boat. And this firefighter who was in the water, he came over. He said, are you sure you just don't want to get on the boat? I said, I may want to get on the boat. I'm not getting on that boat because of Shari and Shamari standing there. He said, finish crying, finish vomiting. We're going to finish this race. He blocked the waves so that I could finish the swim. It kicked my ass. I had never been beat up like that before and had to deal with so many internal emotions at one time. I get out of the water and all I keep saying, I know once I get to my bike, I can go so fast. I'm so good on that bike. I got the best bike. I was fitted for the bike. I had the best shoes for that bike. I'm the last biker. I'm the last person getting out of the water, going to the next transition stage. So now it's me doing a triathlon alone. I get to the bike. 2 miles in, I get a flat tire and my tools don't work for me to change the tire. And I said, little boy's coming down the street. He says, Miss, you doing that race? I said, I was doing the race. He said, he had a bike, like a dirt bike. You don't do road races in a dirt bike. He said, Miss, finish the race. Take my bike. Some strange person goes back to my family with the dirt bike. They're wondering, where am I at? I finished the bike part. I got to run. Because I said, this is what I know I can do on my own. And when I got to that run, I ran past people who were on that goddamn quitter boat. I was the last finisher, and the crowd was electric when I came through. And my kids were there. You finished. If it wasn't for my crazy commitment, my discipline, and my dopeness, I would have got on that boat. And that would have been it. Next journey that transformed our whole life here, 2016. I will not be triumphed over, is what Cleopatra says, and that's one of the things that I keep with me. I had 2 babies. I gave birth to them. I breastfed those children, and my authority was challenged on how I would raise my kids and where. We moved 500 miles from Buffalo, New York, one of the whitest, most segregated places in the country. I wanted my kids to experience an urban upbringing and go to school in a district that I served. I was challenged, my family was challenged. We fought, we won. But during that challenge, I stepped away from being a principal. That was part of my identity. That was my super commitment. That was where I was especially dope. And I had to recreate and reinvent myself in that moment. I trusted my dopeness enough to say, I think we can do this again, and I think we can do it better. Now, I'm not saying that to make you guys be impressed with me by any stretch of the imagination. And I'm not saying that to say to you guys, if I can do it, you can do it too. I wouldn't insult you that way. But what I will do is compel you to ask yourself, are you living with your own legendary ethos? Not many people will self-proclaim alive that they are legends, except for Drake. He says, when I die, I'm a legend. He said that, and he's a legend in his own right. But for us, being a legend is nasty. It is disruptive. Galileo told everybody the earth is not flat. They prosecuted him. They put him in jail, and they were going to burn him at the stake because he said the world is not flat, that it revolves around. He had to renounce his whole life's work in order not to be killed. And that was his biggest regret. Cleopatra was 18 years old, a goddess, a princess, 18 years old. And people thought, did she rise because of her provocative, sexy nature? She spoke 7 languages. She was a nautical genius who can rule kingdoms. And she did it her way. What I'm saying to you is, figure out, and I'm asking you to go deep inside and think, do you have powers untapped? Do you have powers that need to be tamed and trained and developed so that you can have the courage of the conviction of what your dopeness is, and to be able to leverage that in your work, in your life, every single day? Now, how does that translate into season 3? We've been writing and planning and doing everything, but you can rest assured your tire's gonna get flat, that those waves are gonna come crashing. And if you don't have a crazy commitment, if you don't have the discipline, and you don't trust your dopeness, you're gonna end up on that red boat, and you might end up with regret. So I ask you to think about all of the things that go into creating a legendary ethos that will leave you still faithful, excited, joyful, curious, but more importantly, willing to go ahead and put a Band-Aid on your bruise, shake it off, and live to see another day. Thank you, everybody.
That was 51 years.